All right, Kevin. I'm going to talk a little bit about mixing major and minor pentatonics. First of all, I want to talk about what the difference is, and you can kind of get an idea by understanding what makes something major and what makes something minor. So for instance, we can take any chord. Let's take an E chord. Everybody knows the E chord, right? So you've got your E chord, and the only difference between E and E minor is that one finger, right? This note right here is what's called the third of the chord, and that's what gives it. There's a lot of reasons why it's the third of the chord. It's because it's the third note in the scale, the most important. So it's 1, 2, 3. But anyway, we call that the third. And if you want to make something minor, you take that third and lower it. So what that means is when you're playing, it's kind of hard to see my guitar here, when you're playing a pentatonic scale, and just for the simple fact I'm going to change from A minor to A major. So if we had our A major chord, which looks just like that E chord that we were talking about. Here's your A major, and here's the third, and you lift that up, you get A minor. Now it's the same way in, you got your minor pentatonic scale. If you look at that chord, the only note that is not in that minor pentatonic scale is the third. So when you're playing over a major chord, or a dominant, or 7, when you've got, you can play all that and it sounds really nice and bluesy, but you can also add that major third. So like for instance, if you got here, you got something like right there, that minor. Sounds good. That was the major third. So when you're playing a blues, for instance, in A, you can play on this minor, you can play everything out of that pentatonic scale like we always talk about. But then you can add that note over that chord, so you can be, notice that I'm bending to it too. That happens a lot. So like for instance, when you're you can either play that note or you can bend it. So when you see people do this, they're actually bending to that third note. That's what gives it its sound of major. So the next, so for instance, well, I'm gonna stop right there. So for instance, when you go to a D, which is the next chord in your A blues, that note's not in there anymore. So when you're over that D, you go back to playing this. So you've got your minor, you got your major third. So when you're playing, and then you go, then when it goes to D, hear that? So what I'm doing there is, as I'm playing that pentatonic scale, now you can play the blues scale too, and that's what you may be hearing if I'm doing some. You add this note in your blues scale. You add that note. You probably know that already. So it's kind of fun. You got your major third, minor third, then your fourth note, and then that blue note. Okay? Now, that's one thing. Just adding that note is kind of mixing the major and the minor pentatonic. Now, you can really... minor pentatonic, I always kind of associate with players like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan does a Chuck Berry. So if we're still in A, now major pentatonic, if you start with your pinky on the A and you play that, that's giving you a major pentatonic right there. The key is you got to know where your A notes are at. So for instance, or in this particular, so you got an A here, you got an A here, and you got an A here. This scale is B.B. King all the way. B.B. King makes this scale. I'm gravitating to this A right here, and you might know this scale as an F sharp minor pentatonic, but it's A major as well. A major and F sharp minor are the same. The difference is here's your F sharp note, here's your A note. You want to gravitate to your A. So you got the, so you can play both. So you got, now I'm going to go up here and play it. So you've got A major pentatonic, B.B. King. So if you wanted some good major pentatonic licks, look up a B.B. King. Something other than Thrill Is Gone. Something like, look up Rock Me Baby. Look up How Blue Can You Get? You know, those kind of songs. Don't pick something like Thrill Is Gone because it's a minor key. You won't get that. He's got his own way of playing minor, but you want that. Now, you can also do the minor pentatonic scale. So you and I'm adding that in every one of them. Now mixing them together. B.B. King. There's my minor. Back to major. So yeah. Minor, adding that major thing, back to major. You know, a really good song for you to listen to, I Know a Little by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Perfect example of this. I Know a Little, and I can't remember exactly how it all, but I can't remember it note for note, but I remember a lot of it. So it's like, you know, something like that. You know, and then it's like, and it's not exactly like this, but then it does this. And he's in the major right there. Here's the B.B. King. Minor. Major. Up. So I'm the trick to knowing is the first thing you got to know is your notes. For instance, if you're playing an A, you need to know where all your A's are at. So for instance, right here, and then you go 2 strings down and 2 frets up. Those are your octaves, and then you got one here. Each one of those, if you put your first finger on the root, that's your major pentatonic. What I'm doing is going. That's the note you want. You don't necessarily want to hear it later on. You can add that in and it sounds cool. But now, if you put your third finger on it, you get your minor. So you got wherever you got minor. Here's major. Anyway, maybe that'll help you out. And check out I Know Little Solo, and then listen to a lot of B.B. King for your major licks. Hopefully that helps, Kevin.